Namaste. Welcome to the Ilongga Yogi podcast. My name is Kate. I'm from Iloilo City. I'm a certified yoga instructor and certified in mental health counseling. I share content on yoga, mindfulness, fitness, mental health, self-care, and wellness. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that I teach classes both in person and online. If you're interested in taking a class with me, just head over to ilonggayogi.com/healing-Iloilo for the schedule and rates and to book as well. So hello, it's been quite some time since I last recorded an episode and I really wanted to take my time. Trust me, there have been many attempts to record this episode, but I wanted to do it at the perfect time because a lot has happened in the past 2 months. And if you listen to my previous episode, then you probably might have an idea of what has happened or how serious everything was. But basically in the past 2 months, I've had to move a couple of times, actually more like 3 times, from one place to another, from one friend to another friend's house, just to help us get by and to help us get on our feet. Because we kind of lost a lot of things. We didn't have a home to stay in. We didn't have a car. We didn't have a lot of things. And that's fine, not having a car or not having a lot of things with you, because that's manageable. But of course, the not having a place to sleep and live is kind of difficult. But we were so thankful that we had good friends who opened their homes to us. And so we had a lot of moving in and out over the past couple of months. That was quite the experience. And finally, though, early this month, we were able to settle down into our now home. And I really hope and pray that this is where we stay for a long time because we're very happy. I'm very happy with where we are right now. And not only that, but a couple of days ago, I also got married. I think it's been a week, actually, exactly like a week already. And I'm officially married, and we decided to have just a small civil wedding because, of course, financially we're not quite there yet, and I think we just wanted to do something very happy and positive to end the year because we know that the past 2 months again have been very heavy, very sad, very depressing, and so doing this made everything so much better to kind of end the year in a lighter note. And not only that, but as we were moving over the past 2 months, would you believe we had to carry 2 dogs with us everywhere we went, and we learned later on that one of my dogs was pregnant. And that's been kind of an experience too, because for one, I just felt so bad for my dog just to have to go through all of that in the past 2 months while she was pregnant. Like, it was too much. We were always traveling with the dogs, and I know that it was very stressful for them just to not have like their home, and we had to bring them everywhere we went. Sometimes we had to leave them at certain places in a safe way where they were safe, and taken care of and watched, just because we had to do a lot of things that we couldn't bring our pets with us, so it was a lot. I felt so bad, and I was just so happy that we finally were able to move into this house before my dog gave birth. Like, I don't know what I would have done if she had given birth anywhere else, but luckily she gave birth here, and now we have little puppies. And I know that things have been kind of stressful, but it really changes everything when you have little puppies in the house. You can always walk to them and check them out whenever you're bored or just not feeling good, or if you're stressed, or when you just wake up, or when you come home from anywhere. It's just nice to have those puppies there. So it's been quite an experience too, because I ended up assisting my dog in giving birth to those puppies. That was really intense to help her through that, and to learn from that experience too. I was lucky I had a friend who helped us, and I had someone else also assist in that too. So we were able to help my baby Chanel, that's her name, and she did such a good job. She's so amazing as a little dog mom, and her puppies are so cute. I love just like playing with them and seeing them there with her doing her thing, So that's been very nice, and it keeps me not bored most of the time. But also it's the holiday season, and so as you can tell, a lot has happened, right? It's the holiday season, and we just had our house blessing, and we just finished Christmas, and now the New Year's right around the corner. So it's been a lot of celebrations, of eating, of festivities. And so I think that this has been the most rewarding thing to have or to experience after the last 2 months that have been very, very intense and just so sad and depressing. So it's been quite an eventful December. That's the least that I can say. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot. But, I'm very excited about this episode. The reason why it took me a while to also put it together and figure out what I wanted to say exactly and what I wanted to share exactly is because I realized that I'm actually, excuse me, I realized that I'm actually moving into a new chapter of my life. I'm kind of saying goodbye to this old chapter. And I thought to myself that this is quite the perfect time to do this, to end this quote unquote season and start a new one. It's literally me stepping into a new phase of my life. I'm in a new home, and now I'm married and in a different place in my life too, just mentally, emotionally. I feel like a different person. I'll talk about that more later on, but I wanted to take you with me through this journey of starting this podcast and to where I am now. And when I started this, I started recording episodes and posting it here on Spotify back in October 2020. And back then I didn't really think much of it. All I knew is that I needed a space. I wanted to have a space where I can talk about topics that are important to me. And what's kind of special is I used each episode as a way of sort of like closure for anything that I would be going through at that particular moment in time. And then anything that I have learned, I share that as lessons here in this podcast. And so it's really nice to look back on the past 2 years and all the episodes that I've put out, because those are specific moments or milestones in my life in the past 2 years, specific moments where I have learned certain things, learned certain lessons. And so it's nice to have that to look back on. And now that it's been 2 years, we're moving into 2023, so a brand new year ahead. I'm now excited to kind of close out this chapter and move into a new one. And so this is, again, the perfect time to end this season. And that's why the title is, this is goodbye. This is goodbye to the old me in a way. And now we're welcoming a brand new time in my life and a brand new time in our lives as well. So let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about my juice brand, Daily Greens. If you're in Iloilo City and you're looking for healthy juice that doesn't have any added sugar, no preservatives, and is packed with a variety of vegetables and fruits, then you should try Daily Greens. With 2 flavors: 1, healthy greens, which is mostly leafy greens, and 2, carrots and veg, which is 50% carrots and other vegetables and fruits. This is unlike any other juice sold on the market. Most juices are packed with more fruits to help it taste better, but completely miss the point of being a nutritious and healthy drink. Remember, fruits are still filled with sugar and must be enjoyed in controlled portions. Daily Greens make sure that you get the most out of a bottle, packing it with more vegetables than fruits and making it fresh, not to mention affordable for everyone. You can enjoy a bottle or 2 every day, which is perfect if your goal is to maintain healthy yet easy habits in the long run. Because we want to ensure the best quality, I encourage you to pre-order at least a day before, and you can pick it up at any of my classes or have it delivered straight to you via Maxim or Grab. This is your sign to start building healthier habits in the most convenient way with Daily Greens. So in the past 2 years of this podcast, I already learned so much, but if I look back on the past 30 years of my life, there has been so much. I feel like I have always moved into these phases of my life where I have learned and changed and just become a completely different version of myself. And it's been an up and down roller coaster ride, but I think that I'm in a very different place in my life now where I feel like I'm not the same person anymore. And so I wanted to share a few of those lessons with you that I feel are the most important lessons that I've learned in the past 30 years of my life. And these are also the lessons that I will be taking with me as I move forward, especially now that I am moving into married life and hopefully building a family of my own as well. And so hopefully you'll also resonate with a few of these lessons. So the first one is that I have learned to love others in a way that gives them space to breathe, space to just be their own individual, to find their own selves. I think that in a Filipino household, it's very common that there's a certain way of loving others wherein you feel like you have to control them because you feel like that is what will protect them from any harm. But that ends up being a very toxic kind of love, and I think that a lot of us can relate to that. And for me personally, especially now that I'm hopefully on the road to building my own family, creating my own family, I want to love my family in a way that I felt like I lacked when I was growing up. And I know that's a very typical pattern for people, for kids who become parents in the future. But I have learned a lot about what kind of love works best. And so the kind of love that I see works a lot more is when you give whoever you love a lot of space to grow, to make mistakes, to fail, and to learn on their own. I have learned that loving someone should be a commitment. It's something that you have to be ready for. And it's, to me, when I love someone, I want to be fully present. I want them to know that I'm fully present, that I'm here with you, that I'm listening, that I am able to communicate with you in a way that you understand. It's all about the other person, when it comes to love. And I want to be able to pay attention to what they need, not what I think they need. I want to be able to pay attention to what they want, to what their dreams are, and be there for them for that. But most importantly, which is something that I have definitely learned, it's been like the theme recently in the past 2 months, is to be able to love someone enough to stick by their side, to be on their side no matter what, no matter how tough it gets, no matter what people say, no matter what goes on in life, to just be on their side no matter what. When I love someone, I want them to be able to know that I am right there with them. No matter how scary it is, no matter how brutal things are, I want them to know that I'm here. I am on your side no matter what, and I'm here to stick up for you no matter the odds as well. So to me, that's the kind of love that I have learned to value and to honor right now. And I feel like in this relationship that I'm in right now, that's the kind of love that I was given, and I didn't know that was a good kind of love, because I didn't have that much growing up. I had a different kind of love, not a bad kind of love, not a love that was lacking or anything, but just a love that wasn't exactly very healthy for all parties, and I think that's a very common mistake that we have, especially when you're still learning, you're still growing as an individual, and we only know so much, right? So this was the love that was given to me later on in life, and I have realized, wow, that this love is quite special, that this is a good kind of love, and this is the same kind of love that I hope to share with others, with other people in my life. So again, it's to love unconditionally, but with enough breathing space to learn, to grow, to make mistakes on their own. The second lesson that I have learned that is very, very important to me is that boundaries are the best thing for you. I know that I'm pretty much a broken record when it comes to boundaries on this podcast. I understand that, and probably you're annoyed with me like constantly repeating and talking about boundaries, but really boundaries have been the best thing that has ever happened to me, and it has helped keep my mental health in check. I have never been in a better state ever in my life, and I owe that all to learning about boundaries. And I'm so thankful. Shout out to my life coach for teaching me about boundaries and honoring those boundaries. You know, I always thought that boundaries were a weakness, or that they were selfish or not supposed to be done or applied in life. But now I'm realizing that it was because of the boundaries that I have honored in the past 2 years that I have finally maintained a sense of balance in my life. And what's even better is that I have finally been able to show up for certain things that matter to me, that before would scare me, would be so scary, too much for me to handle, too overwhelming for me. And finally I'm able to try new things, to do new things, to add on to the things that I am already doing, and have these new experiences, meet new people. And back then that would again just be too much for me. I thought that I am incapable of doing anything like that, and I have my boundaries to thank for, because if it weren't for that, I would probably still feel very burnt out and very clueless on how to take in more things when I don't know how to handle what I already have, because I lacked boundaries. And now that I have those boundaries and I honor that, I am able to play into my strengths and also test a few of my weaknesses and learn as I go. And so again, boundaries are the best thing that you can do for you. I believe I have an episode about that. So if you want to learn more about that, you can just listen to any of the episodes that I've recorded recently too. The third most important lesson to me is finally I see myself differently now today, and this gives me a sense of peace. It's a very peaceful and patient kind of way of seeing myself now. You know, back then I have always tried to fix myself, thinking that I was the problem. You know, I'm the problem. I need to fix myself. I have issues, and so I need to put myself in line and kind of follow what everyone else is doing, so that I can be seen as successful, so that I can be respected, so that I can be loved in the way that I feel like I should be loved. And I was wrong. You know, I was doing all this effort to change who I am, thinking that that was going to give me the success that I thought I wanted, or the recognition that I thought I needed. And that just made things worse for me. That just really drained me out. And I am now realizing that I'm actually enough as I am. I am not the problem. I'm doing the best every day to get through, despite all that I face, that I don't always share with the world. You know, there are things that I cannot do, and that's okay. There are things that I don't want to do, and that's fine too. I don't have to judge myself for that. And there are things that I'm great at, and I can celebrate all of that. All of that is me, and that's something to be proud of. You know, I'm not perfect, and it's okay if you're not perfect all the time. I may say the wrong thing sometimes. I may do the wrong thing sometimes, but that doesn't mean I'm not loved or worthy to be here. I can keep going and still make 1,000 mistakes and fail every day, but still feel accomplished and still feel worth it. You know? So I began to really respect myself so much more, and I have learned to accept who I am as I am, you know, period. Basically. But yeah, this has been very, very healing for me. I think this has been the most life-changing one, because back then I felt like I always needed to act a certain way and curate my image, my behavior, the things I say, the way I think whenever I'm with certain people. And that has been very miserable. I think that's why I was so depressed for so long. And I was taught that that's how you should do it. You know, that's trying to be respectful to others. But I kind of forgot that I was losing myself in that I wasn't respecting myself in that anymore. And I think that recently, because of the love that has been given to me now, I have realized that, you know, I don't actually have to be anything, you know, to be accepted, to be loved. I can be whatever I am, and that's fine, you know. And so it has definitely been eye-opening, recently to see that that kind of scenario play out with other people, and then see the opposite has happened to me in the past, and now applying that in my life. So finally, again, for this last lesson that I have learned, the biggest lesson yet, is that I have made peace with who I am, and I have learned to accept myself and love myself fully, that I see myself so differently, and that has been such a breath of fresh air. So what's next? With all of this that I have shared with you, everything that I have learned, and now that, as I've said, this is kind of my goodbye to season 1 of my life, I guess, and now the next season of this new chapter of my life, right? I'm very excited about many different things. The last 2 months felt like it threw me into a tornado. And that really was crazy. I wasn't prepared for it at all. And it has been so painful and so sad at times. And it still is, even today. And it's been intense, right? But it was because of the past 2 months and everything that has happened, that I am no longer the same person that I was anymore, in the best way. I actually love who I am now. I love this version of me. I love where I am right now. I love how my life has unfolded. It's not perfect, and that's fine. There are still a lot of things that I'm struggling with, but I feel like I have finally stepped into the light. I've finally liberated myself and freed myself, and I can finally just be me. I can finally just enjoy my life and just enjoy who I am. And that's why I'm so excited to be saying goodbye to this old version of me. This version of me who used to be overshadowed by her depression, by toxic thoughts, behaviors, who used to be so afraid, so insecure, who used to feel so alone almost every single day, who used to feel like she's in the dark. All of this pain that I have carried with me in the past 30 years of my life. And finally, I feel like I'm letting that go now. I'm stripping myself away of that already. And I can't wait to start this new chapter in my married life. I have lost so much. And it feels like it's never ending sometimes. Sometimes I fall back. Sometimes I fall back into a dark place. That definitely happens. Sometimes it just feels easier to give up. But because of the people in my life now, especially, my husband now, who has taught me to love in a very patient manner, in a selfless manner, has taught me how to hold on, to not give up so easily. I feel like I am strong enough to keep going, as long as I have these people with me now. These are my chosen family, and I'm proud of that decision, and I stand by that decision. I have gained a new beginning despite it all, and I thank the past 30 years for leading me to where I am today. And I also have accepted the fact that I am ready to let it go now, so that I can move forward into this new journey. And I'm so happy that you are here with me today. So, as I wrap things up in the season finale, I've been through what feels like years worth of changes and transitions just in the past 2 months. When I started this podcast 2 years ago, I was dedicating my life to fit into what I thought was expected of me. I was changing myself because I thought I was the problem. I thought I needed to fix myself so that I can be recognized and loved and appreciated. But now so much has changed that I'm not the same person anymore. I learned to love myself and others in a way that makes me feel whole, in a way that feels very selfless and unconditional. I learned to embrace boundaries, and my mental health has never been better ever since then. I started seeing myself so differently, and that has allowed me to make peace with my own inner child. My inner child who was left alone a lot, who was scared most of the time, who felt like she had to be someone else or a different person in order to be loved and appreciated and to be seen. Now I know that I am enough as I am, that I am not the problem, that I am exactly where I need to be and exactly who I'm meant to be, and I'm living the life that I'm meant to live, and that the decisions I make are decisions that come from my heart, and I will respect that, and I will honor that, and I will be proud of that. I will stick by it. Because of the past 2 months, I had to pick up the pieces. I've had to pick myself up on my own and continue on with what feels with nothing, with not much to start this new journey. And it's been rough, but it has forced me to start over again, and not many people get that opportunity. And now I'm realizing that it was actually very, very necessary. I needed this new beginning. And now I can't wait for what lies ahead. So goodbye to this chapter, and here's to a new beginning. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ilongga Yogi podcast. Check out my blog, ilonggayogi.com, for more similar content, and follow me on my socials at Ilongga Yogi. Wishing you peace in the body, peace in the mind, and peace in your heart wherever you are. Take care and Happy New Year.